Hi guys, and welcome back to episode 3 of the Parafed Auckland Huddle. I am joined today by Mike and Jody. They work at Functional Adaptive Movement, and they're here today to talk to you a little bit about FAM, what they do, where you can find them, and why they are doing FAM on the move currently. So Mike and Jody, do you guys just want to introduce yourselves, what your role is, what you do at FAM?
Hi, I'm Jody.
You ruined it. You ruined it. She did so well.
No, I have to edit it. I'm fine, whatever.
No, leave that in. Come on, it's part of the fun. Hey, all seriousness, my name is Michael. I'm the CEO and founder of FAM.
My name's Jody, and I am a strength and conditioning coach at FAM.
Awesome. So what is FAM? Like, tell us a little bit about the organisation as a whole.
FAM is an acronym for Functional Adaptive Movement. It was kind of born out of some hybrids going back 10 years, where it first started out as natural movement, and then I had it called the Adaptive PT, and then we came to realize at a point of time is it needs to be aligned to what is it that we're actually doing. Movement is movement, and any movement to a degree could be a functional movement. And what we're trying to do, the nuts and bolts of our business is movement for those living with any disability, be that neurological, physical, acquired, or congenital. And our purpose is, I suppose, nutted down to a couple of core points. Number one is it's inclusive. Number two, there's a massive social element to it. And number three, that it's fun. And I think if you haven't seen the intro to this podcast, then you probably don't know what kind of fun we get up to, but we get up to all sorts of fun. But and I think the gist of it is really giving access where historically and probably habitually folk living with disabilities have not been able to get into gyms to exercise. And we all know that through science, and I'm not a scientist, but through science, that exercise is good for your brain, which means it's good for your well-being. We're living in the strangest times in probably the last 40, 50 years, and everybody kind of right now is really getting to grips with mental health, the importance of well-being, and I suppose FAM is a small part in a massive wheel helping people living with disabilities to be included, go to gym, move to help their daily life to be more independent, and then above all that hopefully it'll make their well-being better. I think that summarizes what is FAM. Anything to add there, Jody?
No, I think you nailed it on the head.
So where can people find FAM? Like, where do you guys operate out of?
Zoom.
At the moment, yeah.
Everywhere. We're all around you.
We're in your computers.
So we currently operate out of I think it's 7 venues in Auckland now. So west, east, south, central, slightly north. And just for those that are watching this podcast, if you're in New Zealand, then it's Auckland south, and then we notice that there's a gap further up north, Orewa further. We have a facility headed up by one of our coaches, Diego, down in Lower Hutt, the Wellington region. Talks are in progress with Hamilton and Christchurch. And kind of thanks to COVID, we have an international arm to our business. So we beam classes into Europe, of all places, once a week. So FAM has kind of got an international tentacle to this big thing that it is. We offer both classes and one-on-one sessions, PT sessions. We have a fantastic new product called Trio, where we offer a semi-private session for our clients where they can bring 2 of their buddies. So there's 3 people, and they share the cost of a PT session. So the coach would be giving them a semi-private PT session, and the costs are split 3 ways. So it makes it way more affordable for them to do that. And they get to train with their mates and all their friends. That's pretty cool. So yeah, it's kind of cool. Our youngest athlete is 5 years old. Our oldest athlete is 72 years old. And we operate, I would say probably, Jody could help me out here, but I would say probably 60% is class-based, where the majority of our clients are based. And then the balance is PT-based sessions. And we have a number of clients that are doing both. So they go to classes and are doing PT sessions. We have some clients that their will kind of states that they prefer to be one-on-one, then we accommodate that. So it's kind of varied. We work with fantastic organizations like drumroll, Parafed. We work with schools. We work with organizations that provide care or adult care. So as soon as the athletes are moving out of school, they're transitioning to adult healthcare, we work with those organizations. So it's kind of cool to see a lot of our athletes that have been with us as children still staying with us as young adults or as older adults, through organizations like Geneva, IDEA, Spectrum, HOHEPA, and the likes thereof. So, and I suppose another key element of that is our very close alignment with specialist physiotherapy practices or practices, as well as occupational therapy. We work with the Ministry of Education in that regard. We work with the DHBs in our areas with their rehab arms. And then I suppose the other cool thing it's important to mention is that FAM is reliant heavily on volunteers. So we have a huge feeder system of young and aspiring and actually quite bright, fantastic young students from physios, OTs, nurses, and sport rec from most of the universities, AUT predominantly, but we also have the University of Auckland, Unitec, Massey, etc., that are bringing their students for work placements or project work. And then that way we're kind of ensuring exposure to a fantastic demographic that I believe is sorely underutilized in this, or under-resourced or under-cared for want of a better word, in this country. And number 2 is that they realize that there's a bigger scope based on the study or field of practice that they're busy studying, that they can do more.
I love it. So Jody, how do these students or our volunteers help to support you in class?
I think most of the time they play a very vital role, especially when you have big classes and a lot of varying abilities in the class. First off, I think my number 1 would be safety. It's important, I think, whilst in gyms, and especially because we don't own any of the gyms, that we've got so many eyes on things like the rig and things on the floor to make sure that the area is nice and safe. And then even though it isn't a group fitness like environment, there's always those individuals that need or want that extra attention, and that's going to maximize their participation. So having them pair up with some of the clients is also real cool to see. And that way the clients get most out of it and they get better results. And also it's just an enjoyable experience. I think it's such a social thing for a lot of the clients that we have, and almost probably on par with the fitness side of it is the social side of it, and the want to keep coming back and the connections that they make. So for them, I think they get out of it what they put into it as well. So yeah.
I think it's also important to add to that some of these students are coming with project work, so they're required to do big pieces of work. So we sit down with Jody and some of the other coaches and we kind of work out mutually beneficial projects that'll help A, the student with their work, B, the athlete in enhancing their life. And then obviously us as a business, we are constantly learning because of all this fresh knowledge coming into the business. We can constantly fine tune what we do as a business. And it's kind of like I scratch your back, you scratch mine kind of scenario. So everybody benefits. This is pretty cool.
I think as coaches as well, like it keeps us on our toes, and we can't be complacent because they're wanting information and we need to give them information, and like it makes us be on our A game, you know? So that's also important, I think.
And I always think as soon as, you know, if they come in with multiple questions, that's what you want, because it sort of shows that atmosphere and that level of that care and that desire to build a better knowledge than what I guess you kind of already have. And I think sometimes with a demographic as small as disability, you go in with thousands of questions because you're like, what am I going to expect? It's so different to that able-bodied community. So it's sort of like, how do I apply that knowledge into disability, and how do I guess, pull it down into its niche rather than just assume it's going to be the exact same?
Yeah, 100%.
So what is your favorite part about your job?
The smiles. I think it's hard to pinpoint one thing. I think it changes also depending on things going around in your own personal life at the same time. But I think a lot of it is seeing in the athlete's eye that like aha moment where like they come in and they're like, no, I can't do this, or like, this is not going to be me. Because I mean, out in society, that's probably like what they've been told, like they can't do this, they can't do that, or like, oh, you can't do this version, you can go do something else over there in your own little area. Whereas like they come into a FAM program or the gym, and it's just like open with open arms. And then like just like them saying like, oh no, like I can't do that, whether it's because it's in their head or they've been told, it's just like, no, everyone can do it, you just have your own special way of doing it. And it's finding those things and then the light in their head, and it's just that's probably one of my favorite things.
That's a really good perspective. What about you, Mike? Everything.
You know, I've been doing this for 10 years, and I think the constant for me as to why do I do what I do is I absolutely love what I do. I wake up with a fire in my belly. I'm probably too much of a philanthropist versus a coach. So there's no money in what I do, but the love. And I agree with Jody, seeing those moments of a light bulb of a belief system being absolutely pushed beyond in a positive way to the athletes' realm or boundaries that they've created for themselves. And that aha moment for the athlete is also an aha moment for us. And they teach us so much. It's not just us coaching them. I think sometimes I forget that they teaching me just as much. We can start a session and go like, hey, we want to do this. And we'll demonstrate what an able-bodied person might do. And then we say, these are what we think the adaptations are. And then they'll come up and go, but I could do it like this, this, and this. And we go like, oh my God, wow, that's freaking awesome. And we've created something new. So huge kudos to the athletes that we work with, because they are not only the reason I get up in the morning, they're not only the reason I come home and cry quite regularly. Is all the mushy stuff in the middle is the stuff that actually makes what we do 100% worthwhile, if not 120%. It's the fact that we're creating a canvas for them to feel safe to express who they are through movement, to outstand themselves and go, oh my gosh, I'm an outstanding, awesome human being. And look what I achieved today. And look what I can achieve. And well, so-and-so can do it, I can do better, and blah, blah, blah. And then to go like, well, cool. We're just facilitating amazing things happening all the time. And I think the gotcha, and it's always in these podcast kind of talk things that we have, right? When you do a presentation, you suddenly go, oh, okay, I'm having an aha moment. And I think that's the realization right now, is sometimes it's good to have these kind of chats, because it makes you suddenly go, wow, this is so interdependent on each other. There's no dependency, there's no independency, it's interdependency between everybody. And that's the magic that happens. What I feel, what gets me out of bed in the morning. I love seeing my coaches. I love working with my coaches. I love the athletes. The athletes are everything. Your cue, Alicia. Everything within is all about the athletes. And I've realized over the time that I've probably become a bit more of an activist for disability rights, and probably have a long way to go considering some other people out there. But they're the magic. They're the reason I get up in the morning.
And I think from like my work and seeing you guys what you guys do, and you know, you sometimes see the athlete at the beginning of, say, when a school's coming for the first time, and they're sort of like, oh, exercise, you know, like, because that's a bit of the mindset thing. And then you see the kids, say, you know, after term 1, or, you know, a few weeks later, and they're excited, you know, they run out of that van, they, you know, the first thing they're like, hi Jody, or hi hashtag, you know. And I think that's what's super special, is that you've kind of shown them that they are incredible people and that they can do anything. And I think that's so vital, especially in that youth process, as they start to grow up and learn these things that, you know what, yeah, I have a disability, but that doesn't matter, you know. And you guys really do an awesome job at providing that safe atmosphere and inclusive atmosphere for them just to be themselves. And I think that's so, so important.
You just reminded me I didn't change my name at the beginning of the call. Everybody knows me as hashtag. We haven't got my own bat symbol.
I think when you edit it though, the names have been removed.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, my name's hashtag.
So how do you guys, so you guys have started the Fam on the Move. I know we did this in the first lockdown, March of 2020. How has Fam on the Move sort of adapted? Has it adapted to be online? And why do you think it's important that we continue to keep this, I guess, this connection and this exercise up during a lockdown, when most people would sort of not throw in the towel, but sort of say, oh, why bother?
I'll try to keep this short and succinct. I think the biggest challenge in the space that we play is the constant, and the constant is change. And when we created Functional Adaptive Movement and we registered the business, it was kind of like, oh, wow, we're finally after 8 years or whatever it is, I've got there. I've kind of made it, like, yay, gonna grow this thing. It's going to become global. And then you have little things cropping up all the time. And quite frankly, like I said, this is our world war, right? This is 50 years on or whatever it is. And the pandemic has absolutely forced a lot of businesses into a crossroads. And I think the beauty of what we are, the essence of what we are, is that we can adapt to anybody coming in. Applies to our business as well, that we ourselves and the business and its model and the way that it operates is adaptable. And hence Fam on the Move was born, pivoting after week 2, I think it was, or week 1 of the first lockdown. And suddenly the branding was there, everything was go, let's get it on. We were very, very quickly pushed into how do we coach 2 different standing and seated in the same session. And even that's evolved to this current lockdown. For those that don't know, we're in New Zealand. So it's been exciting. And I think the discussion now around it is, there's those that are not enjoying lockdown and Zooming, and everybody's Zoom fatigued, and we get that, or team meetings fatigue. But at the same time, it also breaks down a barrier of entry for those that can't get to the gym, that can't get to a facility. It creates us a vehicle of delivering the same experience via a 2-dimensional. And I was always against 2-dimensional video kind of training and stuff, figuring out health and safety, and I can't see what's going on. And well, I've been proven wrong, you know, so we can do it. I think that doesn't detach from our intrinsic human behavior is to be in the presence of others and to have that tribal, villagey kind of, hey, high five, pat on the back, sweaty, ooh, whatever it is. But at the same time, we have the flexibility and adaptability to mix our business up. And we've got some exciting things in the pipeline that are coming up as well. But Fam on the Move, I think, is crucial. It's needed, and I don't believe it's going to go anywhere. I think it's going to actually evolve into its next evolution and next iteration. Jody, any comment? Anything else to add? You've been involved with us from the very first Fam on the Move.
Yes. Oh, I think back to that now and like how we were just so under it, though. We didn't even know what we were doing. We kind of just like, let's pretend we know what we do.
On Zoom and hope for the best.
But I agree with that. And to add to that, especially for like the likes of our intellectual folks, it provides a stepping platform for them to eventually, when we go back to the gyms, for them to feel more confident in taking that step. When we look at some of our group classes and stuff, we have quite a few athletes that will just like sit on the side and just watch from the side. And it's kind of like another stepping stone to that. Like there's a lot of people out there that probably don't even feel confident to walk into a gym, and it's a whole new experience. And depending on the gym, there's a lot of things that can overstimulate you. And for having a platform like Zoom, they can be in the comfort of their own home and people that they feel safe with, and then meet people online. And then through that, they can get confident in knowing, oh, like I know who hashtag is online. I'm going to go meet him at the gym. I know who he is. I know how he talks and like his language and all that.
He's crazy.
The crazy man. See the crazy man. But yeah, it just provides like another resource for them to build their confidence and it's mindset. Like mindset's everything, and to build people's confidence from the ground level is so important. So yeah, and that's a blessing I think from this as well.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. I love the Fam on the Move stuff. I think that it it hits a different area from being on it. Even just this lockdown, the amount of people that aren't even from Auckland that are on this call, they might have heard about Fam for the first time. They don't even know anything about us. They don't even know what we look like, but they're like, yeah, I'll jump on the call with a bunch of randoms and do some exercise, but it's created that really cool atmosphere. And now they're coming back every time, and they might be all the way down in Napier or Hawke's Bay, or we had people from Whangarei coming in. And so it's like we've really created this atmosphere that more people are aware of us and they're comfortable with sort of just jumping in, which is absolutely epic. So do you guys have anything else that you'd like to add to our podcast today? I'm gonna add that in.
Yeah, totally. No, I think some of the stuff that I'm excited to talk about is, and I suppose just to finish off on your last statement there, Alicia, one of the cool things is, it's interesting that you talked about where some of these people are coming from, is that we've literally in the blink of an eye can take away geographical boundaries. We take away one of the biggest challenges for those living with disabilities is transport and logistics to get to do various activities. We take it away. Yes, we've got to kind of be mindful of lack of equipment, and people are also in the same space all the time. And we know that also for well-being is good to get outside and go to different places and do different things. But that being said, we've kind of broken those barriers down. Anything else to add? Yes, we're growing again. We have 4 trainee coaches in training right now. 5 trainee coaches in training, which is really exciting. To find coaches that work with us is really hard. What we do is not for the faint-hearted. It's spiritually, physically, and emotionally draining. So if anybody's watching this and they reckon they've got those 3 things covered off and are crazy and full of energy, and I mean energy like woohoo, hey, hit us up. We're keen to have a chat. The other side of it is that we want to do more. We want to hit more places and we want to create more classes. But one of the biggest stumbling blocks that we're finding is finances for groups and or individuals to come. So we're trying to mitigate those barriers and those I can't moments away by allowing that barrier to entry to go. So if we can get them to come through funding via Parafed, for example, or through CLM or to Manawa Active Sports or any of these organizations, then that's really, really cool. So we have a number of cool initiatives that are in the pipeline coming, which will be exciting. We have a bunch of new classes that hopefully once lockdown in New Zealand is over, we will hopefully have some new classes up and running. And yeah, we've got a lot of work to do. There's still so many people in New Zealand that are not enjoying I believe the wonderful benefits that we offer are not getting access to it, and we need to offer it to them and kind of get it out there. And for the record, we're not CrossFit. We're not a CrossFit gym. We're not a CrossFit affiliated. We apply some of the principles of it because they work. But we stick to our knitting, and our knitting is people first, always people first. So yeah, I don't know what else to add unless got a sneaky question somewhere.
No, that's it really. But thank you guys so much for providing a really awesome insight into FAM, what you guys do and how you can help our community as well. That is the end of our third podcast as part of the Parafed Huddle. Thank you so much for joining us, Mike and Jody, and I will see you next time. Bye. Okay. Started recording.
Got it. All right.
Felicia.
So this is the formal introduction, everybody.
It's not super formal, but it's a welcome. See, I'm going to just laugh. This is the thing.
You got to put this up, man. This is part of who we are.
I'll add the bloopers at the end of it, eh?
Sam, don't do serious.
We don't do bloopers. What?
This is the unedited version of it.
Okay, going to freeze mode, Jody.
Oh God, I've got my questions in front of me as well. Mike's like,
I just got this.
oh God. Okay. I will edit it like that. So you guys Okay.
Okay, we're serious. Okay, we're going to be serious. This is serious. You're not allowed to have fun when you exercise. Get serious.
I was smiling. Alrighty. I was genuinely about to start, and then Mike's like,
all right.